Right. Today we'll talk about the geological cycle. We would go ahead with this topic. We have introduced the rock cycle, talking about how rocks get converted from one form to the other and the processes that are involved. So today, let's talk largely about the geological cycle, which is more or less the same thing. Now, if we check this figure, this is a subsection of the Earth, which show both the Earth surface and the internal part of the Earth. So what that tells us that there are two major kind of processes that are taking place on the geological cycle. You have what we call exogenic processes or external or outside processes that are taking place on the Earth's surface. And then we have what is called endogenic processes that are taking place in the Earth interior. So now we have already said the Earth is a closed system. All what it needs is energy from the sun. And we already know that energy from the sun is that which set in motion the Earth processes. For example, generating the motion of the air. So is the water cycle, for example, hydrological cycle. It's the one which tells whether or not we will have snow or glacier at a certain point. And then eventually, you have things like, for example, denudation taking place. Denudational processes that are, for example, breaking down the Earth landscapes, such as weathering, whereby materials on the Earth's surface are being weathered down, breaking down into small pieces. And then later, when they break down into smaller pieces, they will be transported downstream, either by wind or by water or by glacier, or basically under the force of gravity. So all those are processes that are taking place. Then I said when they are transported, eventually they will be deposited somewhere, and wherever they get deposited, a new landform is created. That landform, it could be sand dunes, it could be beaches at the shore. People that have been to Swakopmund or somewhere closer to at sea, you have seen all those nice clean sediments. They eventually ended up there, but they must have been transported from somewhere else. So all those are processes that are taking place on the Earth's surface. But then we also have endogenic processes or internal processes that are taking place within the Earth interior. So we have a radio activity taking place beneath the Earth interior. We have, for example, internal heat that is coming as a result of the convection current. We have uplifting of materials, for example, uplifting of materials where you have, for example, you have tectonic activities taking place, forcing the land, part of the landscape up and getting all the rocks beneath exposed on the Earth's surface. And then you have, for example, plate movement, you have volcanic eruption. So eventually that gives us an idea that we have materials that are moving from beneath the Earth interior, and when such materials comes on the Earth's surface, such materials eventually start creating landforms, and when they create landforms, exogenic processes start taking place to break down those landforms. So it basically means you have destructive processes taking place on the Earth's surface, and then you have constructive processes taking place from beneath the earth interior to be able to break down for example, the different landscape. So that is why here, the slides, we are arguing that endogenic system is at work building landforms, while exogenic system is at work, for example, breaking them down. Eventually, you have this system which is able to be in some kind of equilibrium whereby you have construction taking place on one side and then you have destruction taking place on the other side. So we would continue again. Thank you.